Welcome back to microeconomics class. This is the seventh module, and at this module, we'll be talking at the second part of market structure, which is elaborating more on monopoly and oligopoly. And at this module, we will actually explore market structure where power is concentrated in the hands of one or a few firms, leading to distinct market outcome. Also, we look into monopolies characterized by a single seller and oligopoly dominated by a few large firms, which is actually what has been said that we will look into. And to remind us of for some of us that have not gone through the previous class or module, monopoly is a market structure where a single firm is the sole producer of a good or service with no close substitute, and this grants the monopolist significant market power, allowing it to influence price and quantity. And what are the things we need to know about monopoly? Broadened, it is one single seller and price maker rather. It's actually one firm supplies the entire market in monopoly and control supply and setting price to maximize profit where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. So at monopoly, there is one firm that supplies the entire market, and in the process of supplying the entire market, the control supply and set prices that helps them to maximize profit where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. And also it's characterized by unique product, and the product has no close substitute, and this forces consumers to purchase from the monopolist or forgo the product entirely. So no competition, it's just the person and the person alone, and it's a unique product, no close substitute to it. And also it's characterized by high barrier to entry. There is strong barrier, whether natural, legal, or strategic, to prevent new firms from entering the market, and it's actually known for sustaining the monopolist's long-term control and profit. What are the sources of monopoly power? Monopoly power arises from various factors that prevent competition and sustain a single firm's dominance in the market. And when we talk about this, we have sources like legal barrier, which is government grants exclusive rights, like patents, licenses, copyright. This is such a source of monopoly power. Also, we have the control of essential resources as one of the source also, whereby a firm owns the entire supply of a key production resources. Also, we have the natural monopoly, where single firm supplies the entire market at a lower cost due to economies of scale, that is, e.g. utilities. Another source is the strategic barrier, whereby actions to discourage rivals are put into place. They discourage rivals pricing, excessive advertising, and some other as such. So they bring about a discouragement to rivals in terms of predatory pricing, excessive advertising, and accusation. And also another source is the brand loyalty. When we talk about brand loyalty, strong consumers trust makes a firm the only practical choice. And the last choice, source, is the network externality. And when we talk about this, product value increases with more users. So the likes of using of social media platform, these network externalities are source of monopoly sources, and one of the source of monopoly power, whereby when you make use of this platform, it's actually brings you to the limelight, and it brings the firm to a limelight, encouraging a monopoly power. Under monopolies, we have the price discrimination. And when we talk about that, it is a unique feature of monopoly power. And it allows firms to charge different prices from the same product based on consumers' willingness to pay, not production costs. And conditions for this include the market power, the market segmentation, and prevention of resale. For the market power, the firm must have control over the product price. And this is one of the price discrimination conditions. We have another condition is the ability to divide consumers into groups with different price elasticity of demand. And lastly, um, the last condition is that it, the buyers the buyers must be prevented from reselling the product at a lower price to others. Yes, the buyers is being prevented from reselling the product at a lower price to the others. These are the conditions for price discrimination in monopolies. What are the types of price discrimination that we have? It actually varies in how perfectly a firm can identify charge charge each consumers. And it can be categorized into three main degrees. And the first one is the first degree, which is the perfect one. And then when we talk about the first degree, it means charging each customers or consumers their maximum willingness to pay, and capturing entire consumer surplus, the e.g. car dealer negotiation. Also, the second degree is another type of price discrimination. In under this, price varies by quantity purchased or product versions, and consumers self-select what they have to. The example is the bulk discounts, electricity slabs, and others. And the last is the third degree, and this means dividing markets into groups based on observable characteristics and charging different prices. Example is student discounts and regional pricing. What are the effect of price discrimination? It should actually we should actually understand the various effects that price discrimination brings in the place of monopolies. And for that, it has a mixed implication for economic welfare, benefiting firms while impacting consumers and efficiency. And the effect includes increased firm profits, and it also has an effect on consumer benefits, where some consumers may get lower price. Also, in terms of market access, it affects in terms of market access, and can make it possible for firm to serve otherwise unprofitable markets. And another effect is it leads to reduced consumer surplus. That is, overall consumer surplus declines. Also, it results in allocative efficiency. And this means that it may or may not improve depending on structure. And lastly, we have the ethical concern, whereby it raises question about fairness and regulatory oversight. And these are the effects of price discrimination in the monopoly market. We move to the oligopoly. What do we understand, or what does oligopoly really means? And when we talk about that, an oligopoly is a market structure characterized by a few large firm that dominates an industry. So it's not a firm, it's not just one person dominating an industry now. It has few large firms that dominate the industry. And these firms are highly interdependent, making their decisions complex. Also, to understand how firms behave in oligopolistic markets, economists have developed several models. And these models, we will actually look into it. While no single model perfectly captures every situation, they help explain key features of strategic interactions, price stability, and cooperation or competition between firms. And these models that we are talking about, as we'll be discussing in this, is the kinked demand curve, collusion, and the game theory. When we talk about the kinked demand curve, this explains price rigidity, that is, firm fear losing make market shares if they raise prices, and triggering price war if they lower them. This is what this model deals with, what it talks about. It talks about the price rigidity, and also it talks about the fear of firms in terms of lowering the price or raising the prices. And for the collision model, it actually talks about firms coordinate pricing and output to reduce competition and increase collective profit. And this is what this model deals with. We have the game theory, which is a formal framework to study strategic interaction, explaining how firms make decisions considering rival reaction. And example is the prisoner's dilemma. For the kinked demand curve model, this model explains the price rigidity, as I've said, in the oligopolistic markets, where price remains stable despite changes in cost or demand. And each firm believes that when price increases, competitors won't follow, leading to significant market share loss, which is also known as elastic demand. And also, when price decreases, competitors will match, retaining market share, and it leads to inelastic demand. And this results in a kink demand curve and a discontinuous marginal revenue curve, explaining why price remains sticky. For the collusion is when firm attempts to coordinate their pricing and output decision in order to reduce competition and increase collective profits. And this behavior is known as collusion, and it can be either formal or tactic. When we talk about it being a formal collusion, it is an explicit agreement to fix prices, divide market, or limit um, output, just like the OPEC does. And they are in such group. We have the tacit rather, where firms coordinate behaviors without explicit agreement, matching each other's actions. And this example of this is price leadership. The collusion benefits firms but harm consumers as it's often illegal under antitrust law. And for the game theory, it's a model that analyzes strategic interaction between profits, where profits depends on rival choices. It depends on rivals' choices. And just like I said above, the prisoner's dilemma, it illustrates why rational firms might compete aggressively even when cooperation would be mutually beneficial. And it actually helps analyze pricing, product launches, and entry deterrence, revealing the instability of collusive arrangements. In conclusion, we've looked into two major concepts, the monopoly and the oligopoly structure of the market, where we concentrate market power, and this leading to higher prices, lower output, and reduced consumer welfare compared to competitive market. And just like I said, the monopoly dominance deals with single seller, unique profits, and high barriers to entry, allowing price setting and also profit maximization through strategies like price discrimination. Also, for oligopoly, we talked about it being few dominant firms engaging in a strategic interaction, and it's explained by model like the kinked demand curve, the collusion, and the game theory. What actually is this impact economically? This structure often results in higher prices and reduce consumers' choice, necessitating regulatory scrutiny to balance efficiency and fairness. Thank you for listening.